shows what are the contents in my map. Okay, so it shows the sampling station location and the names. Then I've added the scale. So the scale changes when I zoom in or zoom out. And you have the option to zoom in and zoom out here as well. Okay. Okay, so I had enabled the pop-up as well. So when I select a point, you'll get the pop-up. So it shows all the data that I have associated with this map. I can disable it. I'll disable it for now. Okay, so to disable that or to change the settings, once you've added the element, you can see these three dots at the left corner topmost. So there you have this configuration settings. Just select that. You can change the settings again. So it's under layer actions. I'll just disable this pop-up. Okay, and then done. So first I've added the first element, that is the map. Okay, next I'll add. So after you add each element, just make sure you save it. Okay. So we'll add the next element. So when you give add element, you can either add it, you'll get the options to add it here. Okay, you can see these plus signs. So you can dock your elements here. I'll go to view. So here, yeah, so if I just mentioned, right? So in the body as well, you can add the element. So next I'll be adding the header, the title. Okay, so add header. So here you can give the title. I've already given it as air quality index, so I'm not changing it. You can add a subtitle as well. So I'll just add it for Bangalore. Okay. So if you want to add it the same line or below, you have the option. I'll add it below the title. You can change the text color. Let it be black. You can change the background color as well. Then you have the header margin. Header margin is from the margin how much distance it will take. So if you enable it, you'll have some space between the margin and the header. You can add a logo. Either you can paste the image URL or you can add an icon. You have certain predefined already available icons here. You can use any of these as well. Okay. And you can give a background image that is at the back of this. Instead of, you can either add a background color or image. Okay, even for background image you have the option to add it using a URL, and then you have the placement for the image, and then menu items. Menu items is this, you see these three dashed lines. If you want, you can add other options there as well. So if I select this, you have the option here to sign out. Okay, so this is the header part. Okay, so you can change the background color, or what you can do is you can change the entire theme for the dashboard at once. So here the theme is selected as light. I'll keep it dark. Okay, and then you can change the text color if you want. In the active tab, border color is whichever tab is active. So this color that you see, outline color, that is highlighted in blue. Okay. Okay, then we'll add the next element. Go to view. Here you have under body, you have add element. Okay, so next is I'll add a maybe serial chart. Okay. So once you select that, it shows from which layer you want to add it. So right now I'm using the layer Bangalore station. I just select it. Or you also have an option to browse if you have any other layers. Serial chart. You just go to browse all layers. Okay, so to show the other layers that I have. So this is the layer that I want. So just go back. Select it from here itself. Okay. So here you can represent your data in the form of charts. So okay, so first you have under data, it shows the layer that is selected. You can add a filter based on the fields that you have. Okay, so if I select this data table, these are the fields that I have. I have the station name, the coordinates, the date. So this data is from 1st April to 30 April for the year of 2022. So it shows all the pollutant concentrations for CO, ozone, NO2, and the average temperature, wind speed, direction, and the AQI, and the prominent pollutant that is present. Okay, so this is the data that I have. So you have here categories. So you can either represent it in the form of categories. You have three, you can represent it in three ways. One is group values, features, and fields. Group values is, suppose here I have the station name. So it will group all the values with the same field. So here all the veterinary college herbal is one category. Okay, so this is one category. So it will group all of them. So it will group all of these values together and represent it in the chart. Then you have features. Features is for individual data, I'll get the chart. Okay, fields is these fields. So based on these individual fields, I can represent the chart. Okay, so first we'll see with the grouped values. So I can select the category field. Say I'll select it as station name. Okay, I'll just close this. Okay, you have the station name, and then you can also give the statistic by which you want to represent your data. The count is the number of data that is there. Okay, so 30 days, so you'll get the count is 30 because I have the data for 30 days. You can even give the average. This won't show any data because it's just a name. So I'll say select any one of the pollutant concentration here. Say CO. Okay. Statistic is average. So I'll select a field. Okay. So here I'll keep the category as station name itself because that is the common field. So for the station name and for the field ozone, it shows the values. Okay. So I can also change this to represent the minimum and maximum values as well. Yeah. Then you have an option to even do it based on the sum standard deviation of percentile, continuous, and discrete. I'll keep it on average itself. Okay. Then maximum categories is how many categories it can take. Okay, here I have 5 categories. If you set 4, it will show the data only for 4. Okay. So station name, and here instead of ozone, I'll represent the AQI. Okay. So the AQI at each station, each sampling station, it shows those values. So the x-axis shows that is the category axis, shows the sampling location or the name, and the y-axis shows the AQI value. Okay. So I've added the data. So now if I go to chart, here I can adjust the text color for the axis as well as the font and the orientation of the chart to vertical or horizontal. Okay. So here I'll keep it to the default vertical. Then you have category axis. It is this axis where the sampling stations are mentioned. Okay, so you can give a title to that axis. So I'll just give it as sampling stations. Okay, so you can change I'll keep it to default or you can change it. Okay, it's too big. I'll keep it to 12. Okay, then you can enable the scroll bar. So if you have a lot of data, it will enabling the scroll bar, you can analyze the data for one particular station. Okay. So then you have the labels. You can disable the visibility of the labels if you want. Okay, I'll enable this. Then you have the placement. So I'll change the placement since these labels are overlapping. Either to, okay, okay, this is fine. I'll keep it to wrapped or maybe staggered. I'll keep it wrapped itself. Okay. Then if you want to change the axis opacity, this axis line opacity or thickness, you can change it. I'll increase it a bit. Maybe just decrease the opacity. Okay. Then you have grids. So here, I don't know if you can see, but here you have these dotted lines. Okay. These vertical and horizontal dotted lines, those are the grids. Here you have the lines. So you can change the opacity of those lines. Okay. And the thickness as well. So this is for the category axis. Only this will change. For the value axis will change in this. So I'll keep the opacity down. Okay, I'll keep it at 0.1. This is fine. Okay, so this is for category axis. Now I'll make the same changes to the value axis. Give a title. So the value axis represents the AQI, the air quality index. You can change the title orientation. So I'll keep it as up. The title size I had given 12 to the category axis. I'll give the same size to the value axis as well. Okay. So here the minimum and maximum value it takes based on the data if it's set to automatic. So whatever data points you have based on that it will set this minimum and maximum value. Okay, so I'll leave it as default to the automatic. If you have any specific values that you want, you can change. You can give the minimum and max value. So your minimum is 0 and maximum is 80. Okay, so if you want to just give integers or logarithmic, you can toggle it on. Okay, for this won't work. Then you have labels. Labels I'll keep. Then you have the axis. Axis opacity. I'll keep the same. I won't change the opacity. I'll maybe increase the thickness a bit. And then grids. You can change the opacity. I'll keep it at 0.2 itself. Okay. Alright. So this is the value axis. Then you have guides. So in guide, it is like you can set a threshold. For example, I'll just add it as maybe I'll give the threshold label as I'll just give it as threshold. Okay. So this is the color, position, left, right, value. So I can give a value. So if I give say 30, okay, so it sets a threshold here. Okay, so maybe values above this are high values. You can just represent it that way. I'm not going to give any threshold here. Okay, I'll remove this. If you don't want this, you can just delete. Okay, you can add multiple guides. I don't want a guide here, so I'll just delete it. And then you have series. So here we have column chart, right? So I'll change it to line. Okay, line or okay, I'll keep it as line, and then I'll increase the opacity. So this gives like an area chart. Okay. Right. I'll just reduce the opacity a bit, line opacity, this line. Okay, you keep the thickness same. Hover text is when you move your mouse, you get the values here. What is the AQI value for those? Okay. So then you have data points. Okay, so these are your data points. So maybe if they have too many data points, you can probably just reduce 0.3. I'm not changing the border opacity and the thickness. I'll keep it as default. Okay. Then in general, you can just name. You can give the chart name. This name will appear in the elements. Okay. So I'll just give it as AQI. Okay. So here, if you come to title, you can add the title here. So this is the air quality index. Just change this to AQI then. Okay, so then I'll just change the alignment. So here you have the option to change the font, make it bold and align it to the center. So here you can also change the headings. I'll give it the, it's too big. I'll reduce the font size. So you can reduce the font size from here. And UI 1960. Okay, and keep it at 16. Okay. Then if you want, you can provide a description here. Okay. So maybe I'll just give a description as data is for, okay, I'll just give it as daily data for April 2022. Okay, and I'll maybe reduce the font size a bit. Okay, then you can change the text color, the color for your this thing, description, as well as the title. Background color I won't change. So we have last update text. It will show what's the time when it was last updated. So you can keep it on. Then you have summarized data download. So when you represent this chart can be downloaded. Okay, so if you enable this option, this data can be downloaded. Okay. For now, I'll just disable this. So when I change the data here, it shows last updated 4 seconds ago. Okay. Okay. So this is general, and then you have actions. Okay. We'll just enable action for this. Okay. So for now, I've added the data, set the category and value access. Just change the guide. I did not give any guide. And then series, I've just changed the column to line. Okay, so just enable actions. So once this is done, just give. Okay. So now when you come to your header here, if you come to header, in this view tab, here you have an option to add selector. Okay. So if I give add selector, I have 3 options: category, number, and date. Okay, so here I have the data only for 1 month, daily data for 1 month. Okay, if you have a huge data and you want to say restrict the amount of data that is displayed, okay, so you can use these selectors. So for example, if I give category selector, here I'll use grouped values, okay, because I have my station names. Okay, I have 5 station names, and for each of the station I have 30 days data, so I'll use grouped values. So just select the layer. So the group values is the Bangalore station, the location that I've showed in the map. Okay, so here the category field would be the station name. Okay, so that field has all the station names. Okay, so maximum categories is how many categories are allowed. Here I have only 5. If you want, you can change this. If you have huge many categories, you can set the limit to this. Okay, so what are the maximum categories allowed? So once this is done, so I have added the data. So if you go to selector, here you have label. So it will show select a category by default. Okay, so I'll keep it the same. Select a category. Okay, if you want, you can add an icon as well. So if you want it is inline or as a drop down menu, and selection is single, you can also give a search bar and show the reset. So once you select a category, if you want to reset it, you can enable this. So I'll enable search and reset both of them. So then you can keep the maximum height as compact or extended. Okay, operator is equal, and default selection is first. Then in general, you have the name for category selector. It shows the, just change this to only category selected. Okay, so this is the name that would appear in your elements. Okay. So, what was I doing? So we were at, okay, the serial chart. Okay, so I had given grouped values, so I'll just give features. Okay, so features means each and every value will be displayed. So if I give AQI, so if I give AQI, okay, still no data. Let's see, let's change it to NO2. It doesn't, okay. There's only one data. It has points. Or else I'll, let's see, fields, add field, AQI, no, not even this, features, okay, category field, let's say the station name. Okay, so here you have option for series. So here I'll add AQI. Okay, so here when I do this, when I'm giving the features is based on each and every feature I'll get. So each and every entry in the table it will take. So I'm giving the category field station name. So it will give based on the station name. And here if I actually, okay, get the scroll bar, so it shows the data for, okay, let me just change the label once. Remove here. I'll change the label placement to update now. So show. This is also okay. I'll keep staggered here. Okay. Chart data. Okay, so if I hope the chart is visible. So if I, where is this scroll bar? So if I just give the scroll bar, so it shows the data for all the 30 days, the AQI value for all the 30 days. Okay, so here these are, there's no data in these 3 fields, these 4 values, there's no data, so that's why it's 0. Okay, so similarly you have for this, so this is a sampling station, so this shows the AQI daily AQI values for this sampling station. This shows the AQI values for the other sampling station. Like that you have the value, it shows the values for all of the sampling station, the AQI values. Okay, so I've given the category field as station, that shows the sampling station, and the series is AQI. Okay, the values that it will show. Okay, so I'll have to change the category axis is same, sampling stations. Okay, I will this and change the value axis. So they have to give the title for value axis. I'll use it as say AQI. Okay, default minimum maximum, I'll keep it the same. It will take the value based on the data points that you have. Okay, then you have labels. Okay, axis, and then grid. Okay, I'm not changing anything here. Guides I don't want. I'll change this to line. I'll just give the opacity. Okay, so now here I have lots of data points. So now here I can reduce the opacity of those data points. Line opacity and also I'll decrease a bit. Okay, hover text. If you want, you can give labels, but here I have too many data points, so it will be too cluttered. So I'll disable this. Okay, so you can show that in decimal or percent as well. So for now, I'll disable, it's too cluttered. Then you have data points. So to adjust the properties for data points, and reduce the opacity. Okay. Okay. I'll keep the border opacity to 0. Okay, the opacity is almost less, so you won't be able to see it. Okay. I'll change the color as well. No. Okay, I'll keep to this general and actions. Okay, footer. I've given the actions there. Right. So I've made the changes here. I'll just give done. Okay. If I change the location. Okay. So when I'm selecting a category here, any one of the sampling location, it shows the sampling location and the data for that sampling location. So what is the AQI value for that specific location? Reset. Oh, no, since none of the categories selected, it won't show. So maybe it is above. So it shows only the AQI values for that particular location. Okay. And save the edits. Okay. So we just added a category selector. Okay. Similarly, you can also add a date selector. So for that, again, go to view. Under header, you have the selector option. So if you want to filter based on dates, so here I have only 1 month data. Okay, so not number. So number selector is if you want to just show the values within a specific range. So for that you can use number selector here. Okay, so I'm not using this. I'll use the date selector. So for date selector, so just give a label, select a date. Placeholder text is no date is selected. It's already given as default. I will change it then. Then the presentation would be dropped down. So here you can give defined options for date. So since you want to specify a specific range of dates, so go for date picker. So in that, again, open the drop down for it. I don't want time. So here what I'll do is I'll just give fixed. Okay, so under fixed, I can enter a date range, a date. This is 22. Okay, I have to select range. This is single, so it shows only one date. Go to range, and then go to fixed. So select the minimum default. That is the starting date from which you want the data. So here I have only 1 month data. So if I select any other date, it won't show any data. So I'll just give a date selector. So I'll give this from April 1. So the data is from April 1, 2022. Then you set the max default, that is the end date. Set it to fixed. And then end date would be April 2022, 30 April 2022. Okay. So once this is done, select done. Okay, so one is here I'm giving the map action from the category itself. If you want to give individual map action, just go to configure. Here you have actions. Okay, so under filter, you can select the layer. So with respect to that layer, the data will get changed. Okay, if you enable this. So this, I'm not changing anything here for now. So here I've added the series chart. Reset this. Now I'll add another element. So I've added a series chart and a map. Next, you can add a pie chart. So you can add a pie chart as well. So then select the layer. So here for pie chart, maybe I'll use the fields. I'll use the fields so that I can, since I have the data here, so I'll be using all of these fields. Okay, so all of the pollutant concentrations for CO, ozone, PM 2.5, PM 10, NSG, SO2, benzene. So for all of them, I'll be using this. So I'll give the category field, say average element, add field, I'll add ozone as well. So I'll keep the statistic to average. Okay, it will show me the average values. NO2, and select all the pollutants, NH3, SO. And okay, I won't show PM 2.5. I'll create and add it in the indicator maybe. Okay. So here I've added these 5 pollutants. So it shows the percentage. Then this is set to average. Then come to chart. So here you can set the text color for the labels, and then you can adjust the font size. You can change the start angle. So maybe if you want to show the highest proportion first, you can just change the angle here. Okay. Okay. So then you can change the inner radius. So this will give like a toner kind of chart. So I'll just increase the radius a bit more. I'll just increase the chart size as well. Okay. So hover text is when you place the cursor on the pie chart, you'll get the values. Okay. So next you have labels. Okay. So okay, what I'll do here is I'll hide these labels. You can represent these labels as percentage or the value. I'll hide these labels and enable the legend. So I've given height to the labels visibility. I have legend, so I'll just enable the legend here. Okay, so it shows the values here. You can show it as a percentage or value. I'll keep it to value, and you can change the placement to bottom or side. I'll keep it on the side. Okay, I'll keep it on the side. Then you can change the label width and the value width as well. So these are your value formatting if you want to keep it in decimal percent, and the decimal places if you want to limit. And similarly for percentage, if you're giving it as percent. Okay. So here chart is done. I'll go to the slices. So here you can change the color for each slice. So you have 1, 2, 3, 6, 5 slices here. Okay, and you can change the label as well. Change the labels. Okay, this is CO and mg per meter cube. Okay. This is also microgram per meter cube. Microgram per meter cube. And 3 per meter cube. So 2 per meter cube. I'll change the colors. Yellow, green. I'll keep this green. I'll change this. So otherwise you can also use the color ramp that you have here. Okay, you have some already present predefined color ramps. You can use any one of these as well, or you can set your own colors. Okay. Then if you want to give, you can give an outline. I won't give the grouping percentage. It will group all the values. If I give say 20, so it will group certain values based on the percentage that you give. So I want all the categories here, so I won't give the grouping percentage. Okay. So suppose if you have like certain values like with other values, for those cases you can give the grouping percentage. So if you have like you have this one bar for 0.7, if you have very small values, you can group them into one and give it as the others. Okay, so I'm not giving any grouping percentage here. I'll change the outline for each slice, maybe the opacity and the thickness. And first change the color to black. Okay. Let me first increase the thickness of the line and increase the opacity as well. Okay, that's too much. Okay, I'll keep it this much and reduce the thickness a bit. So this here I've given the properties for the slice for each of these. Then in general, the name that you give here will appear in the elements. Okay, so it's the pie chart for the pollutants, right? Okay, I'll give that in title. So in title, I'll give this as pollutant concentration. Okay. Align this to center. I'll give this heading. Okay. Then what else? Okay. So I won't change anything here. Then we can give a description. Okay, so I'll just give again the same description that I had given the previous time. This is the daily data. This is for, or else I'll just give it as average since you have calculated the average. You're giving the statistics as average. So these are the average pollutant concentrations. So I'll give the average pollutant concentrations. Okay. Reduce the text size. From 11 to 12. Okay, I'll keep it at 12. Then actions. This doesn't support any events. Okay. So then done. Okay. Okay, I'll just stack this a bit. So go to category, select category, and go to configure. Okay. So in configure you have actions, right? So you'll have to enable if you want to. Suppose here, I'll go back 1 second. So when I'm selecting a particular category, the pie chart doesn't change. Okay, only the serial chart and the location changes. So if I want to change the values for the pie chart as well, since I'm giving this based on a category, go to this category and configure, and then under actions you have this filter option. Okay, just make sure you enable the pie chart as well, and then give done. So now when I give the stations, so you'll get the values only for those particular stations. Okay, the average value for only those particular stations. So the value changes when you select a particular sampling station. Okay. Alright, I'll just adjust this a bit. So you can move these, you have this navigation option here. Okay, just select it and you can position it. Okay, so I'll maybe dock it here. So I want the map. Let me just clear the reset. So it won't show anything. So if you want the locations to be always displayed, even when there's no category given, then again go to configure, actions, and just disable this one, Bangalore station, because that is the layer which shows the locations. Just disable this and give done. So even if you're not selecting any category, the locations will be always displayed. Okay. So if I give any category, it will zoom into that location. All right. Zoom out. Reset. Okay, so now we have added a pie chart. Increase the size of it. Okay, right. Change this and drop it like this. And maybe I'll change the layout again once we add all the elements. Okay, save. So since nothing is selected, it shows blank. Okay, so we'll add the next element. Go to view or just go to add element. Okay, so I've added a column chart. So I've just changed it to line. I've just changed the type to line. Okay, I've given the map and the pie chart as well. Okay, so we'll add the next element, that is an indicator. Okay, so for indicator again, the layer would be Bangalore station. Okay, so here in data, I'll say I'll give average only. I'll consider the average itself. So in field, I will say show for, I hadn't added PM 2.5 and 10 for the pollutant concentration. So here I'll maybe in indicator, I'll give these two fields. Okay, so PM 2.5. So it shows the average. Okay, so now, so I can give a reference. Okay, references. So all of these pollutant concentrations, they have a particular threshold value, right? So above a certain threshold, it falls under high zone. It should be within some range uh, for the safety levels. Okay, it's within some range. So here what I'll give is, if I say give a fixed value, if I give statistic, it will take the reference based on the data that you have. Okay, so I'll give it as fixed value, and maybe I'll give the reference as PM 2.5. I'll give it as say around 65, 60, give 60. Okay, so this is the reference and this is the average value for PM 2.5. Now I'll go to indicator. I'll give the top text, that is what does this represent. So this represents the PM 2 PM 2. PM 2.5. Okay, PM 2.5. I'll just add PM 2, or you can give this average PM 2.5 values. Okay. Then this is the middle text which shows the average value. Okay, and the bottom text is the reference that I've given. Okay, so now here you have an option called conditional formatting. Just enable it. Okay, so here it shows you have two options. One is style for value at or above reference and below reference. So what happens is when I'm giving a category, the values change for each station. So when this value goes above 60, so if I'm setting it above reference, so it is above the permissible limit. 60 is the reference, that is the fixed reference. So if it is above this limit, it will it will change the color. Okay. So I'm styling the color here. Okay. If it is below the reference, it will probably remain the same color. Okay. We'll just see that. So I'll just give the value for PM 2.5 uh, above the reference. So I'll just change these colors here. Okay. Above the reference is high value, so I'll keep it to red. Okay, that's the background. I'll change the background. And, I'll just change the text color to red. Okay, for all the three values. Okay, and for this as well, I'll change it to red. Okay, so I'm not styling it for below value reference. Enabling it for now. Accessibility. Okay, done. So here again, now to change the value according to the station, I have to go to category, configure, and in actions I'll have to enable it. Okay, where is it? Indicator. Enable this. Done. Okay. Now let me just change it to top these two together. Okay. So now if I select the data, so I'd given any value above 60 to change the color, right? So I'll go say city label. It doesn't have data for this thing. Okay, it doesn't have data for PM 2.5. So I'll give this location. Okay, so this is still in white, 44.9. So if the value goes above 60, it will change color. No, configure, not configure. 32, 0, there's no value for this as well. 40, 36, there's no value. Okay, or else I'll maybe give the below reference for this. Okay, configure. Just to show, I'll maybe just change the reference value. Okay, I'll maybe give it as 35 and then give done. Okay, so if I change, so this gets highlighted in red. Okay, because the value is higher than the reference value that I've given. So this you can use as the say permissible limit. Okay, so the permissible limit maybe for 2.5 PM 2.5 is say 35. So if it exceeds that range, it will show in red. Okay, so this is 0, no data. 44, this is 30, this is less than 35. This I think doesn't have data. Okay, this is also high, this is also high, this is low. Okay, so I'll change the what is it, reference value back to 60. I'll configure, go to reference, and I'll just change this to 60. Okay, and then done. So this is for PM 2.5. Similarly, I'll create another indicator for PM 10 as well. So I'll go to add element, indicator. So I'll select the layer. Okay, so here statistic is average. The field is PM 2. PM 10. PM is particulate matter, okay? PM10, 64.1. I'll give a reference value for this as well. I'll give it as 60 itself for this also. Fixed value, I'll give it as 60. Okay. Okay, so I've added the data. So go to indicator to change the settings here. So this I'll give as average. So I'll just give PM10 actually. I won't even have, I'll just give PM10. Change for the other one as well. So this is the average value, and this is the bottom text, that is the reference value that you've given. So then enable the conditional formatting. Okay, here you have an option for advanced formatting as well. If you enable this, if you have any script, you can add it here. Okay, for the what is it, to represent the indicator. Okay, so if you have any script, you can add it here as well. It is under advanced formatting. Okay, I don't want this right now, delete it. Okay, so I have to add again. Data PM10 reference type. I'm giving a fixed value. That is, so I'll take 60 itself. Indicator. Top text is PM10 because this field is for PM10. Then you have the value, average value of PM10, and the bottom text is the reference. I'll enable conditional formatting. So I'll give here again above reference. You can give below reference as well. Okay, below reference. So below reference, so it is safe level. So I'll probably represent it in green. Okay. I'll just use the same color. So I'll just copy the hex code here. Okay. Select. I'll just paste that hex code here so that the color is same for all the three text. Okay. So I have my reference. So here I've given the below reference. Okay. That's why I'm representing it in green. It's within the safe levels. General indicator. Okay. Change to indicator PM10. Give last update text and then done. Okay. I'll have to make some changes here as well. I'll just change those. Here I had given the indicator, give it as PM 2.5. Okay, and accessibility. Okay. Average, I have to change the text for and just follow this average. Okay, just PM 2.5 and then done. So what I'll do is I'll just stack both of these columns. Okay, so I'll just move this here. If you here it will stack those items. So I'll have two tabs here. Okay, so I'll just rename this to PM 2.5. PM 2.5. And this indicator is for PM 10. 10. Okay. I have all the locations. So again, now I need this value to change with respect to the sampling stations. So again, go to the category selector. Make sure you're activating the recently added indicator, that is PM10. Okay, activate it and then done. Okay, so now if you select a category, this is for PM10, right? Lower limits. Let's check for each image. So it will show in white because I've given the reference for the lower. So if the value is less than this reference or fixed value given, then only it will show in highlight in green. Otherwise, it will be the same. Okay, I'll change this to. Okay, all the values are higher than 60. Okay, so here you have value less than 60. Then this is also higher than 60. And this is higher than 60. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll maybe change this to lower reference and this to higher. Okay, since most of the values are here below. So again, to configure it, select the indicator first. Here, go select here and just go to configure. Okay, so this had given us higher. So I'll just change that. It is an indicator, conditional formatting. I'll change this back to. Okay. And just change this back. So I'll give the style for value below the reference. So if it's below 60, it will get highlighted. Okay. Copy the hex code. Okay, alright. So this is save. And I'll change this to above reference, configure, indicator. This is in below reference, right? I'll just change the text color back to white. Okay. And this is for below reference. I have to make it above reference. So here I'll change the color to red. Bottom text. Okay, done. Okay. Now if I change the values, let's change the values and check. This is below, this is above. Okay. This is also above. This is 0. So this is below 60, so it's retaining the white color. 2.5 above 60. I don't have any value for above 60 here. Okay, so I'll just reset this back. Okay, so now you have added map element, the serial chart, pie chart, and the indicator. Okay, next we'll add, say, a gauge. Again, select the layer from which you're and add the data. Okay, so layer, I'll give again the stats as average. And select the field. See, these are all done. PM 2.510 is done. Okay, 80 is the average temperature, RH is the relative humidity. Okay, WS is wind speed. Okay, I'll take the wind speed. Okay, maybe represent this. Okay, then you can set this minimum and max value here. So I'll just check the data table once. What are the minimum and max value? Accordingly, I'll give. Okay, 0.70. 1.2. Yeah, 64 as well. Okay. There's only one value, that's 12. Okay, so maybe I'll give the maximum value as 20. This is all no data values. Okay. I'll give the minimum as 0 and max is 20. Max value will change to instead of 100 and do it as 20. Okay. Then I've added the data. Now to change the gauge settings, you can either show it as a progress meter or progress or as a meter. Okay. So to show the speed, I'll keep it to meter. You can change it to horseshoe or half tone it. I'll keep the shape to horseshoe itself. In value, you can change the decimal places settings. Then you have labels, text. Okay, I'm not changing the labels as well. Axis. Axis is what? Okay, the axis is this gauge values that you have. Reduce the opacity of it. Okay. Then you have needle. I'll change the color for needle and maybe make it red. And you can add a guide. So I'll just change it to maybe 20%. Okay, maybe 30%. Okay. I'll change this also to that. I'll keep it to gray. Don't change that. I'm changing this color. I'll keep the default. Okay. So then general gauge. Okay. The title would be this data is for wind speed. So I'll give it as wind speed. Align the text. Increase the font. I mean the heading, and then you can change the font size. Wind speed. Okay, fine. And keep it to this. So you can add a description, the text color, background you can change. You can update, turn on the last update text as well. Okay, accessibility. And done. Now again, I'll have to change the category settings. I have to enable this as well. Go to configure, actions, active targets, gauge. Enable this. Done. So should change. So it shows different values. I'll change the layout later. Okay, I'll just maybe add the other elements as well. Save. Okay. Then you add the other element. So I've added charts, indicator, gauge. Say I'll add the list. Okay, so I'll maybe add a list for. You can select the layer that you want to add a list from. Okay, so the maximum features displayed is 25. Okay, so it will only show 25, the first 25 entries. I have 233 entries. Okay, so I'll maybe set the maximum to 235, or I'll just set it to 250. I'll just set it to 250 so that all the what is it, fields that I'll specify appear here. Okay, to show all the sorting here. Okay, then once here you can enter the what is it, the fields that you need. Okay, so this shows the FID, the first field. Just give enter, or just give this as ID. Okay, so this is the ID. Then here you have an option. This shows what are the fields that are present in your attribute table. Okay, so I'll maybe insert the date. Okay, it shows the date as well. And I'll add maybe the average temperature and the relative humidity. Or I can add the benzene value as well. Okay, I'll get the average temperature. I'll remove the date. What else? I'll remove the date. Remove the date. Remove the date. So here I'll just mention it as average temperature. Add the field. So first is the ID. Okay. Then next is I'm adding the average temperature. So I'll just select the drop down and select the average temperature. It displays the average temperature as well. Next, I'll show the relative humidity. Okay, this. Okay. Then I'll add the relative humidity value as well. That would be RH. Okay, so it displays the relative humidity as well. Okay, so this I have the list here. Then if you give none, then you won't get these pointers. Okay, so I'll just give the symbol, or else you can disable it as well. Background separate selection color. I'll change it. List. Let's change the name here. The title as average temperature and relative humidity. Okay, it's a big title. Keep the alignment, we'll make the alignment center and then change the font size. Pivot heading. Wait, let me reduce the font size. Okay, fine. Description, text, color, background, you can add the last updated as well. Then actions, if you want to just give the filter only specific to this, then you can give it here. But since I've given it in category, I'm adding all the filters for actions there itself. Okay, so okay, maybe I'll just change. Okay, fine. Done. So this is the list as well. I'll just change the layout of it. I'll adjust the layout. Okay, I'll stack the indicators and the gauge together. I'll reduce the list. Okay. I'll just place this at the corner. Okay, if you select this, the entire stack will move. Okay, stack it here. And stack this as well. And maybe stack this with the average temperature here. Okay. Just reduce this. Okay. Save the edits. Okay. I'll have to again change the action for this. Again, go to let's reset this. Go to selector, not selector actions, and enable the list that you just added. Okay, done. So all of the values are 0 right now. Okay, these are the default null values. If I change the category to, so it will show the value for this particular sampling station. The average temperature, relative humidity, then the AQI values, the wind speed. Okay, I have to change the name here. I'll just edit this to wind speed. Change the list as well. Let's go as 18. Relative humidity. Have the pie chart. This would be the pollutant concentration. Okay. Reset this. You can add table as well. Select the category for which you want to add it. I'll give features maybe. And add the field. Benzene. You can add this one field, this pressure and the wind direction maybe. And remove. Okay, I can keep all 4. Okay. Then go to table. You can change the settings. To data, fit to element width. Hover text. Enable the hover text. Okay. Then you can change the color as well as the thickness for your vertical and horizontal grids. Okay. Change it to white. Change the opacity settings for this as well. Header options. I'll change the label for each. CO as well. It's microgram per meter cube. The pressure will be M per HG. And then how the wind direction in degrees. Okay. Then you can change the text color as a background for each and every value. Okay. Just make the alignment center for each field. Then the table. Change the title to pollutant values, concentration. Okay. So Okay, I'm not changing anything here. And give the update text. It's covering the value. Okay. Actions and then accessibility. Done. Again, you'll have to change the category for this as well. Go to configure actions, select it as an active target, enable this, and then so you can add this table as well to change this. I'll dock these together. Start these and change. I'm going to select a category so that the pie chart is visible. Okay. Pollutant concentration. Alright. So, okay, so the value does change. Okay. So we had given this table. Okay, so the value will change for each and every sampling station. So one more element, details. So this will show all the attributes that you have in your table. Okay. It will show for each and every uh, sampling station. So I already have a lot of data, so I won't add this. You can change this maximum features displayed to 233 and change it to 435. So it will show all of the entries, all of the data that you have in your table. Okay. You can disable. If you have any media or attachments, you can enable it. Okay. Right now, I have only the contents and accessibility. Okay. So you can add the details as well. I'll stack this also with these. I want the map and the serial chart to be more in focus than these lists. Okay, I'll concentration. Okay, also if you want to add another, say, like for example, here I added an indicator, right? I added two indicators. So you can just duplicate it and then just make the changes because you've already set certain values for this indicator. Okay, no need of again adding all the values. Okay, save. Okay, so you've added all the settings here. You can add a mobile view as well. So here what I'll do is here you have an option to copy element. Instead of adding all the elements and changing the settings, you just click copy element and it will show all the elements that I've added for the desktop view. Okay, if I give air quality index, I can't add all the data here. Okay, so I'll just add few of them. AQI, I'll maybe add the serial chart. Where is the serial chart? Okay, AQI, this is the serial chart. Then I'll indicate I'll give the indicators PM 2.5 and PM 10. So I'll just change the visibility for each. I'll stack both of these. Images. Okay, wait. Always what I can do is select this indicator and dock these beside each other. Okay. Place it here. Place this. Place it here. Here. Okay. And just adjust this. If you want to look at the data, maybe you can just use the scroll bar and change so that at least some data is visible. Okay, this shows all the data, so it's just this much. Save the edits. So if you go to view, you'll have this for desktop as well as mobile. Okay. Change. So we've added all the elements. Okay. So once this is done, you just save it. If you want to make any other changes with the once this is done, if you want to make any changes with the background color or change the theme, you can do that as well. Okay. Thing is, you have an embedded content here as well. So here you can add any other. You can give the URL and add that content here. Okay. So this is how we create a dashboard. Any doubts, questions? Any questions? One more thing. Once you've created your dashboard, okay, if you go back to content, okay, so this you can see your dashboard. Okay, so select it. Okay, so you can open the dashboard. You can later on you can make other edits as well. Okay, so you can edit the dashboard and share it here as well. So if you go to edit, then you can add more elements, or if you don't want any elements, you can remove them as well. Okay.